Thank you, Kim Chi, for joining me today. We're going to be talking about first-time home buyers in South Florida and some of the benefits that have really come out recently for a lot of first-time home buyers and why it's really important. And there's a couple things. One, I think that the Florida and specifically greater Miami area is one of the best investments a lot of people can make right now. Not only are there a lot of interesting things happening in neighboring states that push people over to Florida, but also there's some interesting things happening in Florida that I think if they get pushed through, as in the specific one is no property tax. I thought it was a joke at first, and it might actually get pushed through. If that happens, I mean, your values as a homeowner are going to skyrocket. And the statistic I just heard was homeowners have 44 times more net worth than renters. And 2/3 of the net worth in the United States come from home ownership or from real estate. So there is a lot of value in buying and owning a home, whether you have you have a good job, you're new into the workforce, you're getting paid a decent amount, you're a military veteran, you're active duty, you're reserves, whatever it might be. Buying a home, starting to work on building a portfolio over time, I have just personally seen those clients of mine have the largest net worth. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today is that now is a very interesting time and a really good time for a lot of people to be buying because you have a lot more opportunity. So as Kim Chi and I were talking about before we got on, because she also does home flipping, the market is starting to balance out a little bit. It slows down a little bit, which just means there's more opportunity for you as a buyer. If money's tight or if you don't want to be in a super competitive situation, now's the time to be buying. When you buy now, you can always get a different interest rate later and refinance. It can be little to no money out of pocket for a refinance. But once rates really drop and then you start to buy, the problem is yes, you get that good interest rate, but you're competing on price. And when you look at the numbers, it tends to make up the difference. So even though you get a better interest rate, the prices jump up so much that it's almost like you should have just bought at a higher interest rate and refinance later. So right now, what a lot of buyers are doing, depending on their situation, is they're talking with someone like Kim Chi or I, or both of us, and saying, look, here's my goals, here's my current situation. I either have enough money, to cover closing costs, and I just want this, this is the house I want. Or they say, look, I'm a little open. Doesn't mean I want a crappy house or a house that's neglected, but I'm okay with making some updates here and there. But I don't have a lot of money to spend out of pocket. And so I really want a seller to help cover a lot of my closing costs or whatever it might be. And I want to get a deal. This is the market where you can really take advantage of that. The other big one that I really like is the introduction to Vantage Score versus FICO score. So it used to be with the 3 credit bureaus, we had to use your FICO score. And when FICO is the only agency that makes the rules for the longest period of time, and they have no competition, they're very slow to affect anything with your credit. So a lot of people are very concerned about their credit. And I'm finding that people come to me that can't even qualify FHA, which FHA will go down pretty low in credit score. But with Vantage Score, because Vantage is new and they're trying to be really competitive, I've had people qualify conventional, which requires a much higher credit score. So I think one of the ones recently that I pulled yesterday morning was FICO score, their middle score, because that's the one that we qualify people off of, was 572. But with the Vantage Score, it was 628. So we were able to go conventional, and which made it their offer so much more competitive, in the market they were looking in. So that's what's huge. The other big thing is the option to have down payment assistance programs, which right now there are a lot of new programs coming out. Doesn't mean you always should take advantage of them. Sometimes there's better options out there, but I just think that there's a lot more opportunity for people. And when I've seen from experience that owning real estate causes people to have the most net worth. When people come to me and they say, look, I'm going to be selling a bunch of properties. I want to buy this investment complex, apartment complex, whatever it might be. They're typically people that just over time have been buying properties, not stretching themselves too thin, but figuring it out, making it work. And they tend to be the people that have the most net worth, which is always awesome to see. So I did want to start to introduce my guest speaker, Kim Chi. And remind me again, which brokerage are you with again?
Hi everyone, my name is Kim Chi Nguyen. I'm a local agent in South Florida. I am with All Pro Realty.
All Pro Realty. And that's in the greater Miami area?
It is in Fort Lauderdale, Broward County.
That's right, Fort Lauderdale. Okay. And you work in Miami too, though? Or
Yes, I
no?
serve buyer, seller, investor, and renter all through Broward County and then Miami-Dade, also part of West Palm Beach.
Oh, I love it. I like people that are willing to work a big area.
I do.
There's a lot of agents I've noticed that if they've been in too long, sometimes they get a little high and mighty on working different areas. But I wanted to bring Kim Chi on because she is someone that works extremely hard. She has expressed to me a lot about kind of not just like the American dream, but she has expressed a lot of interest in, the value of owning portfolio and working in real estate more than just, hey, I just want to sell a client a house because I need a paycheck. And to me, that's something I can get really behind because I have seen people who have owned property for an extended period of time, and they tend to have so much net worth, which creates a lot more options for them in the future, and it creates generational wealth. And that's something that I like working with an agent who has that same mentality. So yeah, thank you for joining.
It's my pleasure being here.
And I have a few questions. She's going to answer once in English, and then I'll probably ask it again, and she'll answer again in Vietnamese for people who speak Vietnamese more fluently. But my first question is, can you tell me a little bit about some of the best areas and even affordable areas in the areas that you work in?
Yes, I am serving everywhere through Broward County, Fort Lauderdale. So in Fort Lauderdale, when people talk about South Florida, they only think about Miami, but no, I serve everywhere from Fort Lauderdale, Miami, West Palm Beach. So the area that I'm focusing right now is Western, Cooper City, Davie, Tamarack, Sunrise. So those area is where I had a lot of client and the referral relationship that I built for the past 17 years since I moved to United States. I recently closed few deal in Kendall, Miami.
Awesome. And of those areas, where is kind of the most affordable for people maybe not familiar with the area?
Yeah. If you're not familiar to the area, I will narrow down what is your main focus because in Broward County, Cooper City, Western, Davie are three areas. There's a lot of good public school, uh, school A, like on the zone A. So a lot of people move into that area when they are having kid or they have kid in the age of going to school. The price range is from $450,000 to $800,000. It could be higher, depend what is your goal.
Awesome. And then do you mind answering again in Vietnamese? Like what are the areas you serve, but then also what are the kind of affordable areas people should look in?
Oh yeah. So nếu nếu mà gia đình đang có con nhỏ muốn move về South Florida thì một vài khu vực mình cần để ý đến đó là Western, Davie, Cooper City. Những khu vực này là dành cho gia đình có con đang ở tuổi đến trường, có cái khu vực trường rất là tốt và rất là an ninh. Thì cái giá nhà có thể từ 450.000 đến 800 tùy theo khả năng tài chính của mỗi người.
Exactly what she said. Awesome, thank you. And then for my next question, and I did surprise her with, "Hey, can you say it in both languages?" So, okay, are you seeing buyers being able to get deals right now? Are sellers willing to cover closing costs or give credits? Can you kind of talk about that?
Yes, thank you so much. That's a great question, and that's the question that everybody want to know. What is the market right now? How is it going? Yes, as a experienced real estate agent, I am seeing more balance in the market right now. So it's not like a lot of competition like a couple of years ago. So in South Florida, especially like 3 years ago when you had an open house, there's a line of like a mile away from the house, and then you may get an offer at the table with the competition, but now it's more balancing. What I have seen is like this is a great opportunity for the buyer because they use this opportunity to negotiate with the seller to get the seller credit. Also, you don't have to wait 5 or 10 days to do the inspection because you can just make your offer stronger by shorting out the inspection periods, because I am working with amazing team that we can get the inspection done within 1 or 2 days. Even though in the contract we're gonna put 5 days, but I know there's not too busy right now, so we can get the team on the plate on time.
I think that's huge because I work in a lot of states and they can't get inspections done until 17, 18 days. And it kills me because we're trying to get a deal for the buyer. The buyer wants the seller to give credits. The seller just wants things to be done quickly. And for the buyer, that doesn't come at any extra cost. The problem is in a lot of areas, if you don't have a good inspector who can get there quickly, and the agent just kind of picks whatever company came into their office randomly that is booked out for the next 2 weeks, it hurts your ability to get that deal. So I love hearing that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. To me, when you working with me, I only choose the A team. Everyone work with me have to align with my energy, with the way I handle the business. And for the most of the deal that I have done for the past 24 months, every deal, there's no way that I can get anything above 5 days. On the inspection, get it done by second day.
I love that. Yeah. This is why she and I can work well together, because we're all about speed and making things as easy as possible. Do you mind answering that question again in Vietnamese? And the question again is, are you seeing sellers willing to give credits, cover closing costs? How are people getting deals right now?
Yes. Có rất nhiều người đặt câu hỏi là thị trường bất động sản ở South Florida hiện tại như thế nào. Thì theo kinh nghiệm của Kim Chi trong lĩnh vực buôn bán và cho thuê nhà ở khu vực South Florida, hiện tại thì cái thị trường nó rất là ổn định, có thể là rất là nhiều lựa chọn cho người mua. Thì khi mà thị trường không được chao đảo nhiều thì người mua có khả năng thương lượng tốt hơn, có khả năng đưa cái team inspection là khảo sát cái căn nhà vào tốt hơn, nhanh hơn. Người mua có cái khả năng để mà xin cái seller credit, tức là xin lại cái credit từ người bán. Sự cạnh tranh không có nóng nảy giống như những cái thời điểm cao nhất trong thị trường, thì những cái ưu điểm này là nó rất là thuận tiện cho người mua. Và khách đang có những cái câu hỏi mà liên quan đến cái thị trường bất động sản ở South Florida thì xin liên lạc với Kim Chi.
Love it. And then to my next question, one of the things that we've already kind of been talking about a little bit is, if you could just give some more examples, but how have you seen real estate build wealth for people? Because I know you've told me some stories in the past.
Yes. So as you all know, I am also an immigrant that I moved to this country with nothing. I was struggling so much when I just landed to this country, but it took me a while to understand investment in general and realize that real estate is the best way to build wealth, because it is benefit from the appreciation, create the cash flow through the investment, and establish the generation wealth. I personally see people that bought a house back in the day, and of course the equity is built up, and that's giving them the ability to pull out the HELOC and leverage and move on to the next project. So if you are committed to learn, to get the education and willing to work with the right person, there is the plan, there is the way for us to create wealth. Of course, it's not overnight, but you have to trust the process. This is the best way for you to build wealth for yourself and your family.
Yeah, I love that. Do you mind sharing that again in Vietnamese?
Ok. Như chúng ta đã biết thì Kim Chi cũng là một người nhập cư vào đất nước Mỹ với hai bàn tay trắng, nhưng mà vì từ sự cố gắng làm việc tận tình, chịu khó và cố gắng học hỏi thì Chi hiểu được rằng là mục đích của Chi là một người agent muốn giúp đỡ cho cộng đồng người Việt và những người nhập cư được có cơ hội làm chủ, sở hữu một căn nhà. Tại vì như chúng ta đã biết, căn nhà là tổ ấm, là nơi mình về mỗi ngày làm việc vất vả. Khi mình tìm hiểu được cái khả năng để mình mua được một căn nhà cho chính gia đình mình, thì cái quá trình nó xây dựng cái equity, có nghĩa là cái lợi nhuận từ căn nhà đó, nó kéo dài trong thời gian, và cũng là cái lợi thế khi mình cho cái thuế má và những cái nhu cầu về sau. Khi mà mình muốn tập trung vào những cái nhu cầu của mình và mình muốn tập trung vào sự đầu tư đúng đắn, thì mình có thể gọi là nhà đẻ nhà, mình có thể mua từ căn này qua căn kia, và đó là cái hướng rất là tích cực để mình build cái wealth, có nghĩa là mình tiết kiệm cho cái về hưu sau này.
Perfect. And then my next question, which is one of my favorites, is, because it's something I think a lot of when buyers call me and they ask, they're trying to ask me questions. A lot of times when people trust me, they'll say, I don't even know what else to, like, what should I be asking? And this is something I feel a lot of people should be asking is, what are some of the biggest mistakes buyers make during the process? So I think if buyers ask that to an agent or a loan officer, it really gives us the chance to be able to share, look, this is what some of the biggest mistakes you can make so that you can avoid it, because they are common mistakes. But what are some of the biggest mistakes you see buyers make?
Yes, I call mistake is the challenge. So what is the biggest challenge that people usually face? First of all, the expectation. Okay, because what you are now and where you want to be, sometimes it could be an issue. The affordability, the insurance cost, and understand financing option. Some buyer only focus on what they want, but what they can actually afford or qualify is two different story. I always tell my client, okay, having a conversation with me, I like to give the free consultation in person or via phone. I like to understand their finance situation, their credit score. I want to understand what is their need. So the more I know from them, is the better for me to serve. The most challenging right now is people want the $800,000 home, meanwhile they only qualify for 400. And I always tell them, listen, your first home, it doesn't have to be a dream home, but if you can buy something that you can afford now, by time you trade that one for your dream home. So understanding where they are and what do you do to guide them to the next step is the most important thing.
I love that. Yeah, love that. Yeah. I mean, setting the expectation is huge, and communicating that with your agent. But here, from my side, the lending side, because I've had it where, we get them pre-approved, I think that they're excited, and then I just don't hear anything. No offers are being written, and I end up asking the agent, and the agent says, look, their expectations are out of the world. Mm-hmm. And it's, be open to, because we're here to serve you as the buyer. So be open to saying, hey, look, this is what I want, but here's my situation. What is your perspective about that? That way we can help guide you. So that's huge. And then do you mind
For sure,
Yeah.
100%, because I was in the situation that the the referral from my client sent it to me. It was his son, her son, and he started sending me the listing $800,000, a 900 4 bedroom 3 bath, and he keep telling me I'm done with this apartment. Yes, that's why I came in. But talk to me. So after the conversation, I find out that he's the only income of the house, and his credit is been frozen for the past 7 years. He didn't make a payment for one credit card from Macy. And he was thinking that I've been paying everything by cash and I'm building great credit, but he wasn't able to qualify. Zero, like nothing. So understanding that, and then take the first step and guide them and understand we are here, we don't have a choice. So now I refer him to the credit repair so that we can take the next step. So sometimes it had to be a plan, but you gotta understand, like, it's not only showing them how. Narrow down, make a plan, create the journey so then we can work together. I am not on about buying or selling and selling. I want to bring the value to the table. Eventually, once they understand.
We're losing you a little bit there.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
Good.
Yeah, thank you. And I love that example too. Yeah, do you mind answering that same question? So, like, what are the biggest mistakes buyers make? And then also if you give that example as well, but in Vietnamese.
Okay. Yes. So cái challenge có nghĩa là những cái lỗi mắc phải khi người mua nhà đầu tiên, đó là chọn một cái người agent, tức là một người vàng đại diện mà không có tâm. Thì đa số là người ta hay quan tâm về cái nhà mà người ta muốn, nhưng mà thực sự ra trong quá trình mua nhà thì cái việc đầu tiên là phải nói chuyện với người agent rất là rõ ràng, để người agent hiểu được là hiện tại cái tài chính của mình đang ở vị trí nào và bước tiếp theo là sẽ như sao. Thì có nhiều trường hợp là người ta muốn một căn nhà rất là tốt, rất là đẹp, với như là một căn nhà mơ ước, nhưng mà thật sự ra cái tài chính chỉ cho phép được ngang này thôi. Thì cái việc quan trọng là mình phải hiểu được là cái giá tiền hiện tại mình có bao nhiêu, down bao nhiêu %. Mình cũng cần thêm tiền closing cost, mình cần thêm tiền reserve. Thì cái quan trọng là mình hiểu được là mỗi bước đi là nó rất là quan trọng. Có thể bây giờ mình mua căn nhà đầu tiên không phải là căn nhà theo mơ ước, nhưng mà khi mình mua được căn nhà ổn định theo cái giá của mình có thể trả được, thì trong một thời gian sau mình có thể cho thuê căn nhà này và mình dành dụm được nhiều tiền hơn, mình mua được căn nhà tốt hơn. Tại vì Kim Chi đã ở trong trường hợp là có khách của Kim Chi muốn căn nhà 800.000, nhưng mà khi phát hiện, khi nói chuyện với người ta thì mình mới hiểu rõ rằng là người này chỉ có qualify, tức là có thể vay được rất là số tiền rất là nhỏ, tại vì chỉ có được một income, chỉ có thu nhập hai vợ chồng nhưng mà chỉ có một thu nhập thôi, và cái credit của người này không có, nên chỉ là nó rất là quan trọng làm việc với cái người mà muốn dành thời gian ngồi xuống để tìm hiểu và hướng dẫn mình từng bước, là nó rất là quan trọng. Khi mình làm việc với Kim Chi không có nghĩa là mình phải mua hay bán bây giờ, nhưng mà nếu mình muốn xây dựng cái mối quan hệ để giúp đỡ nhau, đó là cái việc quan trọng nhất đối với Kim Chi là một người đại diện. Xin cảm ơn.
Perfect. And then my last question, which this one's really important to me too, is because I think everyone should kind of ask this question to an agent they want to work with. But what does the ideal process look like, when a new buyer starts to work with you?
Yes. Thank you so much for your question. Actually, working with the first-time home buyer is my favorite thing. It's like you go into the elementary school, you feel so exciting. You work with the investor, yes, it's amazing. They know you talk with their language. But my intention is helping the people who have no idea what is the first step. I love helping first-time home buyer. So the process that I would like to take with my client, for example, somebody refer me the client. They never own a house before. This is their first time. I set my time having conversation one-on-one with me. I want to learn from them. How much money do you have right now in your bank account? What is your credit score? What is your budget? How important for you and your family about school zone? Are you looking for HOA? No HOA? Are you buying cash or you finance? All of that question is gonna be in my first consultation. Understand that. I like to educate with them, and then I connect them with the right lender, understand the budget, improve the credit, or if it's necessary, and create the plan. Home ownership is a journey, is the giving me the appreciation and then giving me the chance to prepare and guide the buyer with confidence, and the opportunity come along with it. I love helping, the first time home buyer, and I always gonna be making this like my niche, because I truly care, and I like to guide them step by step.
I love that because there are not a lot of agents that do that. A lot will say, oh yeah, and they'll get really excited and then they'll send them to
Mm-hmm.
me and say,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. How come you can't make it happen? And it's, well,
Yeah.
there's only so much I can tell you, agent, because it's private information. They
Mm-hmm.
they need to tell you, but there's something we got to figure out. And like, I'm a
Yes.
broker, I can go to a lot of different lenders, but usually there's little things we can fix and tweak that's going to save you so much
Mm-hmm.
money versus going to some specialty lender, because that can cost
Yeah.
you a lot.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're doing the legwork to ask some of that, just it helps keep everyone in line and on the same page. So I think that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Give me the opportunity to say a little bit, to give you a little bit of example. So I recently closed a deal with the client, first time home buyer, and I had a very clear conversation with her, and I understand exactly what she have, what she need. So I connect with the lender, qualify right away. I closed 40 deal for the past 15 months, and like including rental, but there's not even one rejected. But I am very transparent, because if you tell me that you need to buy a $600,000 home and you had through three $5,000 in your bank account, and I'm working on my credit, I will tell you, okay, I'm not surprised, I'm not upset or anything, but I want you to understand you need more, because I don't want nobody to be surprised with the closing cost. Even though we have an opportunity to negotiate, not every seller is willing to give that concession.
Right.
And then you will need the reserve, because you don't want to be poor buying house, right? After you closing house, you still need additional fund for the emergency. You need even to transfer the electric, the utility, you need a deposit. You don't want to have like $20,000 and just put everything in the closing cost and then you had nothing. So I
I will
am
say a
very
lot of people
educated. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
a lot of people getting into contract on houses, and they see what the closing costs are, and it's a lot of taxes and title and escrow
Yeah.
fees, but they'll
Mm-hmm.
see that and they'll think, well, wait a minute, I still got to get appliances for this house. I need to
Yes.
pay for moving
Mm-hmm.
expenses. And so
Oh yeah.
we're not your bad guys. We're not car salespeople. Not that
No,
they're bad
no.
guys at all either, but at the end of the day, the more you tell us and the more we can help you and advise you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
how it is. And I always tell my client it's possible. It's not that hard. But again, like if you qualify for a FHA, great. You had at least 5% and then another 3% for closing cost, and you need another 2% at least for reserve. So if you do FHA with the minimum down payment, I require you 10%. Are you ready for that? If you're not ready, it's okay. We wait for another 3 to 6 months. It doesn't have to be now, because I don't want people to be like, oh my God, now what? I'm in the house need work and I don't have money. I forgot that my agent never told me about the closing cost. Then now the underwriting asking me for the reserve. I don't have anything, So it's
Yeah.
so important to take your time, educate your client. And that's just how I handle my business, and I win all day long.
Yeah. I love it. You don't always need reserves, but to your point, I think if people, especially when you're looking at houses and you need to update a house and you're thinking,
Mhm.
oh crap, I'm spending all my money, I don't have money for the updates, you're going to be frustrated, and we don't want you to be. So
Very.
I love
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Do you mind answering that same question and giving that example
Oh,
in
yeah.
Vietnamese?
Yes, thank you. Okay, can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah. So, what is the ideal process? You know, a new client reaches out to you. Like, what's the ideal process in working with you?
Okay, yeah. Khi quý vị có nhu cầu mua nhà thì cái việc đầu tiên nó rất là quan trọng là tìm được một người agent, một người đại diện làm việc thật thà, có tâm và rất là chịu khó. Đó là cái bước rất là quan trọng, tại vì khi quá trình làm giấy tờ thì sẽ có rất là nhiều thắc mắc và rất là nhiều cái mình cần cập nhật cho nhau để mà biết hiểu được là quá trình hiện tại đang ở khu vực nào. Thì khi mà một người đại diện làm việc chuyên nghiệp thì người ta sẽ bỏ thời gian ra để mà giải thích những cái chi tiết. Thì cái chi tiết đầu tiên là cái tài chính hiện tại của bạn bao nhiêu, bạn có bao nhiêu và bạn đang muốn mua căn nhà giá như thế nào. Xong rồi á, mình cần cái số tiền down payment, mình cần số tiền closing cost, mình là những cái chi phí trong quá trình làm giấy tờ. Tiếp theo là mình cần tiền dự phòng. Thì tùy theo mỗi loại loan, ví dụ như loại loan FHA thì có thể bỏ xuống 3,5 đến 5%, nhưng mà những cái traditional conventional loan thì có thể đến 20%. Và mình cần tiền closing cost và tiền reserve. Và sau khi mình mua nhà xong, mình biết rằng là cái cost của moving, có nghĩa là cái dịch vụ mà vận chuyển từ A đến B, thì mình cần cái tiền để mà chi phí những cái đó, rồi đồng thời cũng cần thêm tiền điện, tiền nước, tất cả những cái đó là những cái cần thiết mà người mua cần phải chuẩn bị. Tại vì Kim Chi không muốn là có 20.000 bỏ xuống đáo xong là xong, không còn cái số tiền khác ở trong cái tài khoản nữa, thì cảm thấy rất là nặng nề, và như vậy không có cảm thấy thoải mái khi bước chân đến cái căn nhà của mình. Thì đối với Kim Chi, cái việc quan trọng là hiểu được vị trí của bạn đang ở đâu và bước tiếp theo như thế nào, chuẩn bị credit, chuẩn bị tài chính là finance, và có một người đại diện. Cái người đại diện đó sẽ giới thiệu và connect cho bạn đến một cái người lender, là sẽ kết nối với cái người làm loan á. Thì khi cái người làm loan đó họ vào cái application, tức là vào cái điền cái đơn của mình, rồi người ta hiểu được á là mình sẽ được qualify bao nhiêu, và căn cứ vào cái giá tiền được qualify đó thì mình đi shop, mình đi tìm cái căn nhà của mình. Okay.
I love it. Well, thank you for doing that. I know I kind of sprung it on you right when we were starting. If you could do some in Vietnamese too, but
I'm good.
yeah, we're all in a melting pot, so it's nice when we have some other languages.
Absolutely. And I would love my community to hear my voice too.
Yeah, I love it. Well, yeah, thanks for joining. You know, and if anyone wants to reach out and you're watching this video recording, just let me know. And I have more information for Kim Chi on how to get a hold of her. What's the best way of getting a hold of you?
You can connect me on Instagram at kimchi_1982. You can connect me on Facebook at Chi Nguyen. You know, if you search it up on Google and you search it up for Kim Chi Nguyen, you see a bunch of 5 review star. And more than anything, reach me at 954-471-9392. I'm here to help, and my slogan is, "What can I do for you?" I'm greatly to be here. I really appreciate for your time and giving me this opportunity to share my voice with the audience. Listen, homeowner is something very special for me. Owning a piece of land in United States is my American dream. If I can do it, why not you? I moved here from nothing. Now I am the owner of 4 houses, and I gonna continue building my portfolio. The most important thing is not because I want to impress nobody, but I want to guide everybody that is possible. And that's the best way to build wealth. And I want everybody to win. So connect with me. I'm happy to share my journey with everyone. Thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you.